Greetings, I am Hocticus, and this is my History Corner. Today we are not actually talking about history, we're going to talk about fantasy stuff, specifically zombies, and how good they would be on an actual medieval battlefield. Well, clearly a fantasy medieval battlefield, but you get my point. So let's start by clarifying exactly what I'm referring to when I talk about a zombie. I am talking about your classic D&D-esque zombie. You know, the slow-moving brains kind. They don't eat, they're slow, they're stupid, they do exactly what you tell them to do. That kind of thing. Animated with magic, etc. We're not talking a plague, we're not talking things that hold on to parts of their past lives, like revenants or ghouls or things like that. Just, it's a zombie, it's a meat puppet. It goes and does meat puppet things. That's it, that's the zombie. So think of the Lich King's Horde from WoW. Think of Warhammer Fantasy Zombies from the Vampire Counts. Again, D&D. I could probably think of some more, but you get the point. So, let's go to the positives of zombies. 1. They will obey every order you give them. Yes, they will walk into a burning building to go get your coffee. Okay? They will do literally whatever you tell them to do. Without question. They'll just go. They're resilient. Zombies are shockingly resilient. I mean, it's a mobile corpse. Okay? And this, of course, will depend vaguely on what universe you're in. Because I know for a fact that the zombies of Warhammer Fantasy are really resilient. Like, the suckers just won't fall over. Like, if they lose an arm, it doesn't mean anything to them. They could lose they can lose their entire spine. Like, as long as they're, from the sternum to their head is sort of intact, you can basically replace everything else with just chunks of wood to just kind of give them structural integrity. It's downright impressive, actually, how durable those suckers are. But then again, magic in Warhammer Fantasy is a little crazy. But, so, that just illustrates the point. Zombies are nuts. Even, go to D&D zombies, they take a beating before they finally go down. That's kind of universal. So, this, of course, depends on which one. If you have to destroy the head, it's really annoying, because now you have arrows are completely useless. But if it's just, massive bodily trauma, not so bad. But zombies are very, very durable, which is a great point. So, 3, they do not require a logistics train. Zombies are dead. They are animated by magic. They don't need food. They don't need water. They don't need rest. They can just keep walking. The only people that need rest are the mages that animate them, and even then that's arguable, because if a lich did it, he doesn't need to sleep or eat either, because he's a freaking lich. So, depending on who's animating them, I mean, if it's me, let's just say it's me living, good old living Hocticus here, and I take my staff and I make my army of zombies, well, I have to eat and sleep, but I can do that while one of them, like 5 of them pull my wagon or something, and I just take a nap inside of it or whatever. It's not a big deal. So they don't need a logistics train. That's huge. Absolutely huge. Let's see. They obey any order. They do not suffer from morale. This goes back to the follow any order part. They have no self-preservation instinct. They'll never rout. You have to wipe them out. You have to actually destroy them in order for them to stop being a thing. And that's a kind of a pain in the rear end because of 2. 2 makes that difficult. Because they are just a mobile corpse. You have to basically hack them to pieces, generally speaking, or, lob their head off, or ram a pike through their chest, or it's a giant mess. So, to recap their positives. They obey all orders, without question, to the best of their ability. Simplistic ones. They put that caveat on there. They can't understand complex orders, generally speaking. They do not require a logistics train. They are fairly durable on the single combatant side of things. And they'll never run, because they don't have a self-preservation instinct. Now let's look at their negatives. And there's, as big as those positives are, there's a fair few negatives. Let's just start here. They're dumb as bricks. There's no 2 ways around it. They are dumb. Because this goes back to the whole, they do not have a self-preservation instinct thing. They're stupid. They're just straight up stupid. There's no two ways around it. Like, if I order them to attack, and my enemy lights a pitch ditch, it doesn't matter if it was historically accurate or not, it might actually work against zombies. Make a big ditch, fill it full of a flammable liquid, and light it on fire. They'll all just walk into it. They'll walk straight through that thing. I have to tell them to stop. You gotta micromanage them. There's an issue. 2, in many fantasy settings, when you destroy the mage that animates the dead, generally speaking, collapse. They just collapse into dust. It's like the Phantom Menace when you destroy the droid control ship. They all just shut off. It's that exact problem. It's a crippling weakness for the benefit of having lots and lots of dudes to bring to the party. Which I guess is another positive. It's really easy to get zombies. You just need to find a bunch of corpses. So, I guess that's another positive. You can have lots of them. Lots and lots of them. So we'll put that in there. They have 5 positives. But yeah, so if you lose your mage, you can probably lose your zombies. Which is bad. Which brings me to point 3. You need more mages. Okay? Because most of the time, let's just say I'm the dread scary necromancer here. I am Necromancer Hocticus now. And I will have my giant army of the damned. Well, I can't be everywhere at once. I need lieutenants. I need them to do this. Now this, of course, you're going, well, that's normal. It's an army. I know. But, slight difference here. Depending on the universe you're in, whoever's supplying the magic is the one they listen to. Now, I could, of course, order them to listen to other people, and I probably would do that, but if I want a big army, I am constrained by how much magic I have. Generally speaking, this is generally how it seems to work. This is why the Lich King in WoW has got such a massive army. The dude has just a stupid amount of power. So you can have this huge army. But in other settings, such as Warhammer Fantasy, then I'll just use the Vampire Counts as an example, because they're the ones I'm the most familiar with. They have generally lieutenants that carry down after that, because one lord can only have so many. For instance, Vlad von Karstein could have a fairly massive army, but at the same time, if he's using all of his power to keep the zombies and the skeletons and all the other horrible, nasty, undead things moving, he runs out of power real quick. So, if you're a giant evil mastermind and you want to have a giant army of zombies, you have to balance out how much power do you want to have having zombies compared to how many lieutenants do you want to have. It's a bit of a mess. Now, of course, there's ways around it depending on how you got the zombies in the first place. I mean, if you have a giant evil artifact that you put corpses and spits out zombies, this is actually not a negative at all, and you can just make as many zombies as you want. So, you gotta... There's a problem. You lose your lieutenant, you lose your army. Or a chunk of it. Now, that's kind of what happens in an actual medieval battlefield. You know, you kill the commander of that particular wing of the army and it'll fall apart, but it's not guaranteed. Whereas with undead, specifically with zombies, it's guaranteed. It's gone. It's kaput. You're gonna lose it. Either they're gonna just run around and be uncontrolled, or they're just going to crumble. So, there's your problem. In some settings, and this is not, I'm not really gonna count this one because this one's not common. I have seen it though. Sunlight destroys them, or gravely weakens them. So it depends. If you're in a setting where that happens, well, undead don't make great armies then, because you have to find some way to block the sun. Which, of course, there's ways to do that, but it's just more crap you have to put up with. So now that we've kind of established the pros and cons of zombies, and there's probably more of both of those than I'm thinking of offhand, how do you actually use them on the battlefield themselves? Because, well, there's another negative that I just thought of. Zombies can't really use weapons. I don't have a sword handy, but the axe I have here will work for a general representation. Okay, zombies don't remember weapon skills. So, they don't remember edge alignment. So when they swing the axe, they just kind of swing it. So if they swing diagonally, it's probably going to just be really crappy edge alignment, just sort of flail all over the place, which isn't what you want. And you see this in video games too. When you see zombies, they kind of just swing a sword like it's a giant club, and they just happen to kind of have edge alignment right. It's not the end of the world, but it's not good. You'd be better off just giving zombies a club or other large blunt object, like a stick. Just give them some sticks and just whack things. Because they do seem to have enough faculty to understand use beat thing with stick, that they seem to have that much at the very minimum. Spears they seem to understand the basics of. You know, take the pointy end, stick it in the other guy. They're not doing it with any real skill, but there it is. They can have them. Or you can say screw it and let them just drag people down and then literally rip them apart with their bare hands. I don't feel that's particularly efficient, but you're a necromancer. I don't think you really care. You can give them bone shivs, I guess, if you want. They can stab them with that, but, you know, clubs. Go deforest a tree and... Or deforest a tree. Deforest a forest and go give them a bunch of clubs. It'll be fine. They're definitely not going to hold any form of ranks. I mean, I've never seen zombies ever seem to have enough intelligence to actually properly hold ranks, and frankly, ordering them to in a rank seems to almost be beyond them. You can probably do it. It's just, you know, you stand here, it's all of you stand X whatever apart. I mean, I don't think you can actually give them directions like that. It'd probably be something like, stand there, it's just not worth it. Just kind of get them all to go over there, and they all kind of just bundle up, and then just shove them forward in just a vague direction, and let them just run over things. So, I guess their pushes aren't really going to have a whole lot of force behind them. Just, well, other than sheer numbers. Because there's no point. You can't, like, funnel them into something other than just wall of meat, which, again, has its own wonderful perks to it. So zombies on the battlefield, like I said, just kind of get them in a big ball, just big group, maybe a couple of groups, and then just sort of send them in the general direction you want them to go in, and then they'll just raise holy hell. Uses specifically, I would actually hide my important troops behind them. You know, if it's just, let's just say it's an entirely normal medieval army, and I just happen to have access to zombies, I would probably put some footmen behind them. You know, maybe with bill hooks or something. Possibly just have archers hide behind them. You know, just have the zombies stand in front of the archers, just literally being a wall of meat. You have the archers shoot over, or if you got the footmen there with like big bill hooks or pikes or something, and they just kind of stab over them. Or you just use the zombies to bog down the enemy, and then your knights can come on the side and just smash into them. It's a personal favorite tactic of mine in Kings of War. Giant zombie brick in the middle. Zombie brick in the middle is great. It's like the best strategy ever. It's stupidly simple, but it works so well because you have to deal with it. And that's the thing. You have to deal with the zombies. You can't ignore them. I mean, they may not individually be a big threat when there's 200 freaking zombies or whatever number in a big blob sitting in front of you running at your men, or shambling at your men more accurately. You have to deal with them because otherwise your men are going to break or they're going to start getting eaten or something. I mean, they may not be a threat to a shield wall. I'm not sure how big of a threat they would be to a shield wall, actually. I mean, they can grab the shields and probably pull a bit, but they're going to get stabbed in the face. I don't think that's much of a question. Take a sword and just ram it right into literally right in their eye socket, and they'll just drop. Should drop. Again, that depends entirely on how you're animating your zombies. But they've got that use, because you have to deal with the little suckers. They may not have the offensive punch of comparable troops, but they have to be dealt with because they're just so freaking annoying. Because they're persistent, they'll hound you. So, mobile cover, I'm not sure if you'd want to use them in your center line. It would probably work. It'd be an aggressive center line. It wouldn't be a defensive one. I don't see zombies being any real use defensively other than, you know, carry that to that guy type thing. Like, if you're in a siege, I think zombies are completely useless. Other than, you know, we're going to sally out and I'm just going to shove a bunch of zombies in your general direction. I mean, padding out your numbers, sure, that's I guess, useful, but They can't really shoot. I don't think I've ever actually seen a zombie shoot. Like, I don't think they possess the capability to use a ranged weapon anymore. Like, even a crossbow. Like, maybe throw stuff? I don't think I've actually ever seen zombies throw things. Even if they do, they may not be accurate enough to do anything. But, I mean, I guess they could lift rocks over battlements or something. But, yeah, sieges, I think zombies get a flat fail in sieges. I don't think they're just good enough. They're too dumb. They require way too much micromanagement. They're just... Sieges, no. Open battlefields, it gets better. So, mobile cover, possibly your center line. Because, you know, they're a decent wall, I guess. I mean, comically, you could get some shields and then just tie the shields to their chests for crappy armor. And now they're even more of a pain in the rear end to deal with, because someone has to get around that stupid shield you just tied to them. Now I'm just picturing an army of zombies with heater shields for breastplates. That's ridiculous. It'd probably work, too. I mean, it's not that big. It'd probably work as crappy armor. I mean, they don't care about how uncomfortable it is. So there's that. But outside of that, zombies don't have much use. I mean, you can't really do a flanking maneuver with them unless they're being babysat. That's the problem. That's what keeps coming down. You have to babysit them. So if you send the zombies around the side, you have to send someone with them to keep micromanaging them, to keep moving them, because otherwise if we go to that point, turn left and attack, they might be able to do that. But, you know, what the hell that point was. What do you mean, that over there? Okay, they could think you mean 2 counties over. They're dumb. That's... Keeps going back to that problem. They're dumb. They are not smart at all. So, to end this long ramble, I'd probably... Grading zombies... Let's go down it. Let's go down there again. Okay, no morale issues. We'll obey any order. No logistics. Are quite durable. Relentless. There's one. They're very relentless. There's those positives. Those are some great positives for soldiers. Negatives, they have, like, no skill. Okay, I didn't mention that earlier, but they have, like, no skill. They're very bad. They just brute force the problem away, which has its own merits. They're dumb as bricks. They require constant micromanagement. You need mages to keep them functioning unless you're running off of some weird artifact or something, which is entirely possible. They're not great defensively. I mean, I guess it's just a matter of being creative with them, but yeah. Another positive, they will crush the enemy's morale just by being there, because it's creepy dead things. That's never great to fight. So, you know, we got 5 negatives to 6 positives, and I could probably get more if I felt like it. But C+, seems fair. I mean, they're good at what they're good at, which is being meat shields. The giant wall of meat that must be dealt with. They're great at bogging down the enemy, so tar pitting. They're okay at just not running away. I mean, I need a bunch of dudes to hold a point. I guess they'll probably hold it if they have enough people. Well, dudes, zombies, whatever. But at the end of the day, they don't have the capability or intelligence to act on their own. So if they hold it and then the enemy breaks, they're probably not going to chase after them. Even if I want them to. Like, I have to have someone be there and immediately order them instead of, someone in the unit realizing, they've routed, we can get them, and then they go chase them. I mean, that's a positive and negative of that. And that's kind of what the whole thing with zombies are, is that on the one hand, they'll do everything you tell them. On the other hand, they will only do whatever you tell them. So, I guess it matters how much you want to rate either one of those things. How high do you rate individual soldiers' agency? I tend to rate that a little on the high side. I like my soldiers to be able to anticipate problems and think them through themselves. I would like to give them kind of open-ended missions to just solve on their own. I don't want to micromanage them. I don't want to baby them. Zombies, as much as I enjoy using them, and they require a lot of that. So, end of the day, C+. You could do worse. You could definitely do better. No one's going to argue that. But you could do a lot worse as far as minions go. So zombies, solid C+. C+ would conquer world with. Have a good one, guys.